they were very stimulating days. If ever I write a book, the subtitle would be "Never a Dull Moment." I think probably my proudest moment was at Newbury, just 400 yards from the Fox and Hounds pub up on the hillside. There was the International Sidecar Motocross Grand Prix, and Norton filled the first 5 places, Norton-engined Wasp sidecars, a crowd of, I wish I'd brought the photograph of them, a crowd of 20,000 people, and the Works Honda was 6th. And the meeting was run by our AJS Spares manager. He was a great motorcycle, a retired competitor and a great clubman, and his club, the Newbury Club, organised. And that was a very proud moment. Nothing to do with Norton Spares per se, or Norton bikes per se, but we were very involved with the sidecar motocross world. Our Norton suited the type of racing. You know, interesting actually that sidecar motocross started, and aerial 500s were the popular bike. Then the ACU lifted the engine capacity to 650, and Triumph Twins became the definitive bike. A couple of years later it went to 750, and suddenly Nortons were the definitive engine. They were better than the overboard 650 Triumphs. And then finally they took it up to 1000cc, and the Yamaha 850, the Yamaha 650 bored to 850 became the definitive bike. But for 4 or 5 glorious years, the Norton engine was the definitive bike for sidecar scrambling. So it was good for our spares business, and it meant that a crashed Commando anywhere had a certain value, because a sidecar racer was going to do his best to acquire the broken bits. Amazing bit of sub-history, isn't it? It just got better. As soon as they got rid of me, it got... it's evolved as to far more professionally and efficiently than I think we ever envisaged. You know, it's the right people in the right place, the right time, right product, and I'm so. I mean, I dine out on the success of Andover Norton every week of the year, and telling people about it, how well they're doing, and the fact that Joe has recently offered a renovation, a rebuild service. I mean, what you couldn't be more involved than that, could you? And making parts from the old drawings, and in many cases with the original tooling. It is lifeblood, isn't it? It's I think the AJS I rode a Stormer in the desert. I did just over 30 desert races. It was stock, absolutely stock. We put some different handlebars on and some American shock absorbers. And a desert race lasts for 3 or 4 hours. And sometimes there isn't a rider within 200 yards of you. You know, there might have been 1,000. There was always 1,000 on the start line. But as you get into it, 50-mile lap, sometimes the bloke ahead is 200 yards and the bloke behind is 200 yards away. And you've got these wonderful mountains that you've seen in the cowboy films over the years, and you've got time to think. I mean, you're going battling along, and there's dust and cactus and the odd cobra to run over. And you had time to think. And I just was so fulfilled by that desert racing. You know, I had ridden in a couple of American motocross, and I think my best place was 16th. I would have been about 28 or 29, and I was up against 15 and 16 and 17-year-old kids on 125s, and made an absolute fool of them. You know, they were so quick. And Brian Slark said, "Mike, you're in the wrong sport. I'll take you out the desert," which he did, and I took to it like a duck to water. You know. So in 30 plus races, in Las Vegas once at the Mint 400, some parts in the mag melted, and that was a DNF, did not finish. And I got a puncture once in another race in Nevada, but otherwise it never missed a beat in 30 plus races, not a single problem. Great, isn't it? Never changed the plug, never had a gearbox problem, nothing, yeah. And one or two road bikes. One of the best bikes I've ridden was the, what did we call it? The Ascot. Yeah, we did a Yamaha 650 engine mounted isoelastically in a Norton frame, and a prototype. That was a great bike, and I also rode and bought the T180, which was an 870cc Trident, and that was a great bike. I took it over the TT one year and did a bit of posing around. We didn't make it because it would have been too costly. We were, at Shenston, NVT, 20 people, and it was just beyond us. But I somehow got my sticky fingers on this T180. Yes, quite a rich history for my sins with these different bikes. Oh, I think it would be the camshaft scramblers that Norton made in 1952. A chap called Les Archer won the European Championship on his own camshaft Norton in 1956. And he had been helped by Norton. But Norton, in 1952, went into the motocross scramble world with 4 absolutely beautiful, I didn't bring a photograph here. It's such a such a broad church, isn't it, this game? But they made these all-alloy camshaft scramblers, 2 350s and 2 500s, pinched BSA's best 2 riders, Jeff Smith and John Draper, and went into the motocross market. They didn't work that well, actually, but they were the best-looking, most fantastic bikes you have ever seen in your life. And some of the parts went to Les Archer, and by 1956 he won the European Championship, but effectively it was the World Championship, because the following year exactly the same series took place, same riders, same courses and everything, and they called it the World Championship. So that was a great, that's often overlooked by Norton. I mean, for this little tiny company, less than 200 people, TT, half mile in America, trials, and Les Archer scramblers. Norton did so much. Bike of the year. Do you remember MCN? Well, remember, it's still going, I believe. My only claim to fame is that I've read every issue of MCN since they started in December 55. I've got a copy of the first issue somewhere, and I've read it, not cover to cover, but I read every issue and survived. That's my only claim to fame, really. I used to, at Andover Norton, we were the importer of the V rubber tyres made by a family whose Christian name was began with V, and they started a tyre company. They had their own plantation called V Rubber, and I used to go to see them and suggest things and so on, and we brought in over 100 containers of tyres, when we, Andover Norton, were in the tyre business over a 10-year period, 100 containers of tyres and tubes. And after being in Bangkok at their factory, I used to go down to a place called Phuket. a lovely beach area in Thailand with some wonderful roads. Luckily, some of them were dirt roads, and you could hire a trail, Yamaha, and so some of it was tarmac and some of it was dirt. And I would love to ride a Norton on those roads because you know, mountains. One day I was riding, came across an elephant, a stray elephant on the road. Can you believe that? It's quite a pleasant hazard, isn't it? And my hooter wasn't as effective as his hooter. But, so if I won the pools, I would go to Phuket and take a Norton with me and ride it around. I expect some of those dirt roads are now tarmac, but there's mountain passes, and you've got a wonderful view of the sea and the beaches, palm trees coming out, and yuccas, and so that would be my a wildly unachievable ambition, but there we are.